So if you want to know what gold is going to do in, say, 2027, you'd probably look at global supply chains, right? Or maybe interest rates or, I don't know, inflation
Right,
metrics.
the usual macroeconomic stuff.
Exactly. But according to one very specific set of calculations, you can just look at the constellation Leo. Welcome to today's deep dive.
Yeah, this one is definitely out there.
It really is. We are jumping right into a text titled Final Gold Coefficient.txt, specifically an excerpt called Lesson 7, Combining the Results. And our mission today is to explore this really highly unusual intersection of two completely different worlds.
Which is wild because you have the rigorous math-driven realm of market prediction crashing right into the esoteric world of astrology.
Right. And, okay, let's unpack this. The premise itself is just wild. Because they are treating celestial bodies the same way a quantitative analyst treats, like a tech stock's PE ratio.
Yeah.
Are we basically treating planetary and stellar influences like weighted metrics in a stock portfolio algorithm?
What's fascinating here is that that is exactly what they are doing. Humans just inherently crave certainty, especially in an environment as chaotic and unforgiving as the financial markets.
Oh, for sure. The markets are terrifying.
Right. And this text is just a fascinating attempt to manufacture that certainty by finding quantifiable patterns up in the sky. So the text actually gives us two very specific numbers to work with here.
Yeah, we have a Leo coefficient, which is listed at a positive 13.
Yes. And then we have a solar coefficient at a positive 4. And this is where they attempt to force those subjective celestial signals into a really strict objective formula.
So they're literally just adding them together.
Basically, yeah. The text outlines a synthesis of these distinct signals into a single final calculation. They just add the Leo coefficient of 13 to the solar coefficient of 4, and they arrive at a final integer of 17.
Wow. So it is just simple arithmetic.
It is,
Yeah.
but I mean, it represents a highly complex effort to build a reproducible system out of astrology. They are trying to quantify the unquantifiable.
Okay, but wait, hold on. We have our final score, 17. But like a single integer doesn't give a trader anything actionable on the floor, right? So what does this all mean?
Well, the text claims this final result of 17 points directly to January 16, 2027.
Wait, really?
Yeah, it says that specific date is the strongest bullish astrological signal for gold during that entire month,
Oh, wow.
meaning the celestial indicators point toward a rising market.
Okay, but how does a 17 just naturally become January 16th? Is there like a conversion table in the text that actually explains this leap in logic?
No, that is the glaring missing link in this excerpt. Lesson 7 doesn't provide the cipher at all.
You're kidding. So it just skips the actual translation part.
Completely.
Mm.
It presents the date as an absolute mathematical certainty derived from the equation, but the actual mechanism, how an output of 17 isolates that specific calendar day, is kept entirely off screen.
So the reader is just expected to blindly trust that an output of 17 definitively locks in mid-January 2027.
Yeah, that is the expectation. The author just operates under the assumption that the reader already understands the underlying matrix used to map these final coefficient values to a standard trading calendar.
That is a massive leap of faith for a financial model.
It really is. Once the formula yields that 17, the text declares a definitive bullish signal for gold on that exact day, ostensibly driven by this combined Leo and solar influence.
It completely bypasses the how and just expects the reader to execute on the what.
Exactly. It highlights the extreme lengths people will go to in order to find an edge in the market.
Cruelly. So, just to recap our journey here for you, we have a system that assigns a numerical value to a star sign. Leo is 13.
Right.
Adds it to the value of the sun, which is 4, to get 17. And then spits out a highly specific buy recommendation for a precious metal on January 16th, 2027, years in advance.
Which demonstrates how traditional boundaries between fields are just entirely ignored by some forecasters if they believe a blended model can offer predictive value.
Right. Which leaves you with a really interesting question to mull over. We know financial markets are largely driven by human psychology, right?
Oh, absolutely. Fear and greed.
Exactly. And human behavior is heavily influenced by belief systems. So, could an astrological bullish signal actually become a self-fulfilling prophecy in the trading world?
Oh, wow. That is an interesting thought.
Right. Like, If enough algorithmic traders or institutional investors start programming these exact celestial coefficients into their own high-frequency models, does the market rise on January 16th, 2027, simply because the algorithms believed it would?
Even if the stars themselves have absolutely no physical effect on the metal.
Exactly. Definitely some food for thought the next time you are checking your portfolio.